The U.S. is tracking a big drop in tourism from around the world. Take a look at this. Travel from Canada and Mexico was down double digits. We're also seeing fewer visitors from Western Europe, Central and South Asia, South America, I should say.
Here in New York, tourism is also being hit big time, once again driven by negative sentiment toward the USA.
There was nobody there. There was nobody in my row. It was really shocking. I've never been on a flight like this.
Stunning images of near-empty passenger planes are popping up on social media. These international flights have many tourists flying to the USA practically alone. Shauna Massengill flew from London to Chicago. Look, barely anyone on board.
Something shocking is happening in 2025. The world is quietly turning its back on America. International flights that once brimmed with excited travelers now look like ghost ships. Just imagine this: a woman flying from London to Chicago, sitting alone in her row, staring at empty seats across the cabin. Her words? "It was really shocking. I've never been on a flight like that." This isn't a scene from a disaster movie. It's reality. For decades, the United States was the ultimate dream destination, the land of skyscrapers, Hollywood stars, and bucket list adventures. But today, that dream is cracking. Global tourism is shifting, and for the first time in a generation, the US isn't on the winning side. Why? Because something deeper than high prices or long flights is driving this collapse. It's a crisis of trust. Here's the truth: America's tourism industry isn't just slowing down, it's unraveling. The numbers don't lie. Travel from Canada and Mexico, down double digits in just 1 month. Western Europe, declining. Asia, dropping. Entire airline routes are disappearing. Business travel is stalling. Student exchanges, shrinking. And behind the numbers is a disturbing reality. The world doesn't feel welcome in America anymore. What changed? It's not just one thing. It's a storm of policies, headlines, and choices made at the very top. Choices that scream inconsistency and hostility. Long border waits, aggressive questioning, racial profiling. These aren't rumors. These are real experiences shared across social media and splashed on global headlines. And let's be honest, this didn't happen overnight. This has been building for years, fueled by tariffs, trade wars, and diplomatic fights. But in 2025, under Trump's second term, the consequences are finally hitting home. And here's the shocking twist: the countries we thought would never turn away, they're leading the exodus. Germany updated its travel guidance, warning citizens that even a valid US visa no longer guarantees entry. Japan's NHK aired reports of engineers and tourists being detained for hours. In Australia, the largest travel agency reported a 16% drop in US bookings, while trips to Japan and New Zealand soared. So the question isn't just why aren't they coming? It's what does this mean for America's future? Because when tourism collapses, it's not just money that disappears. It's trust, it's influence. It's the story the world tells about the United States. And right now that story is changing, and not for the better. But here's where it gets even worse. This isn't just about a few canceled vacations. This is an economic earthquake, and most Americans don't even feel it yet. Tourism isn't a luxury for the US economy. It's a lifeline. In 2019, before the pandemic and political turmoil, international visitors spent nearly $214 billion in the US. That's billions flowing into hotels, restaurants, small businesses, national parks, money that supports over 9 million American jobs. Fast forward to 2025, and that river of cash is drying up. Take Canada, America's closest friend and biggest neighbor. In April alone, air travel from Canada to the US dropped 20%, and land border crossings plunged by more than 35%. Think about that. Families who once drove across the border for weekend shopping trips are now saying, forget it. Why? Because they don't want the stress of aggressive border checks, unpredictable visa rules, and humiliating interrogations. Canadian news outlets are flooded with advice columns urging citizens to skip the states and spend their dollars in Mexico, Portugal, even Quebec. And guess what? They are listening. Now let's look at Europe. France, a country that once romanticized America, now headlines stories like "Has the US lost its charm?" Travel agencies report double-digit declines in bookings. Instead of strolling through New York's Central Park, French travelers are basking under the sun in Spain or Greece. And here's the dagger. Polls reveal that 70% of French citizens now hold an unfavorable view of US leadership. That's not just a statistic, That's a shift in the global perception of America, and it doesn't stop there. In Germany, official travel warnings are out. Even Japanese business travelers, people who bring deals in dollars, are pulling back because they don't want to risk being detained for hours by US Customs. Australian families, they're done with Disneyland. One traveler shared her horror story. I was questioned by officers, then my mother and I were separated. I spent 4 to 5 hours locked in a room before being taken to a federal detention center. Imagine planning your dream vacation and ending up in a detention cell. How do you think those stories spread? Social media, fast, viral, and every post like that is another blow to America's image. So what's behind all this? 2 words: policy chaos. Under Trump's second term, border policies have become harsher, tariffs have reignited trade wars, and diplomatic relations with allies have soured. The message to the world: America is unpredictable, even hostile. And here's the irony. While other nations like Japan and New Zealand are rolling out the red carpet for tourists, the US seems to be slamming the door shut. But what does this mean? Beyond empty hotel rooms, brace yourself, because the ripple effect is about to hit hard. Now let's talk about the fallout, because this isn't just a tourism issue anymore. This is a chain reaction that's shaking America's economy, politics, and even its identity. When tourists stop coming, it's not just about a few empty hotel rooms, it's about entire towns, entire industries collapsing like dominoes. Start with the numbers. The US travel industry contributes over 2.9% of the GDP and supports millions of jobs, from hotel clerks in Florida to tour guides in New York City, from waiters in Las Vegas to drivers in Los Angeles. When those visitors disappear, paychecks vanish, and here's the kicker: many of these jobs belong to hard-working middle-class Americans, not CEOs or billionaires. People who live off tips, small commissions, and seasonal work. People who don't have a safety net. They're the ones paying the price for policies that were supposed to make America great again, but are instead isolating it from the world. And the impact doesn't stop at the local diner or the theme park. Airlines are cutting routes, laying off workers. Big hotel chains are freezing hiring. Even real estate markets are feeling it. Remember Canadians who used to flock to Florida every winter? They're buying vacation homes in Portugal and Mexico instead. That means Florida condo prices are dipping, construction projects are slowing, and tax revenue is shrinking. States that once thrived on tourism dollars, Florida, California, Nevada, New York, are watching billions evaporate. And when state budgets fall short, what happens next? Cuts to schools, healthcare, infrastructure. Ordinary Americans end up paying for this crisis in ways they don't even see coming. But the consequences go beyond dollar. Tourism is more than an economic transaction. It's a bridge. It's how cultures connect. When that bridge collapses, so does America's soft power. For decades, millions visited the US, experienced its culture firsthand, and left with admiration for its values. Now, instead of selfies at the Statue of Liberty, we have viral videos of travelers being interrogated and humiliated at American airports. That's the image going global. And it's poisoning relationships that took generations to build. Politically, this is a disaster waiting to happen. Countries issuing travel warnings against the US. That's unprecedented. It signals that America isn't just losing tourists, it's losing trust. And trust is the foundation of diplomacy, trade, and global leadership. When allies start saying, "Don't go to America," what's next? Don't trade with America. Don't partner with America. The ripple effect could turn into a tidal wave. And here's the haunting question: can this trend be reversed? Or is this the moment history books will mark as the point where America's global image started to crumble? Because make no mistake, when planes fly half empty and landmarks stand deserted, it's not just tourism that's collapsing, it's the story of who we are. And if you think that's dramatic, wait until you hear what's coming next. So here we are, 2025. A year that should have been America's comeback story. Instead, it feels like a warning siren. Empty flights, slashed airline routes, shuttered tour businesses. These are not isolated incidents. They are symptoms of something deeper: a loss of trust, a loss of welcome, and maybe a loss of what America once stood for. And let's be honest, this didn't happen by accident. It happened because of choices. Choices made in Washington, choices made in the White House, choices that prioritized political theater over practical diplomacy. President Trump promised strength and security, but what did we really get? Endless tariff wars, border chaos, humiliating entry procedures, and an America that feels more closed than ever. The result? A global audience that no longer sees the United States as the land of opportunity, but as a fortress with walls that keep even friends out. Think about what that means for our future. Tourism isn't just about money, it's about influence. It's about the stories people take home after walking through Times Square or standing at the Grand Canyon. Those stories used to inspire hope, admiration, and respect. Now the stories going viral are about hours-long interrogations, locked phones, and frightened travelers crying in airport detention rooms. That's the new American image. And it's not just heartbreaking, it's dangerous, because when the world stops coming here, it stops listening, it stops believing, and eventually, it stops caring. But here's the question we all need to face. Can America fix this? Can it pull back from the edge of isolation and restore the sense of wonder that once drew millions to its shores? Or have we reached a point where the dream has dimmed, where the open arms of the past are just a memory? The truth is, the answer depends on what happens next, on whether America chooses empathy over arrogance, diplomacy over division, and vision over fear. Because tourism isn't just an industry, it's a reflection of who we are. And right now, that reflection is cracked. The only question is, will we repair it, or will we watch as the world quietly moves on without us? Drop your thoughts below. Is the US still the dream destination it once was? Or are we witnessing the slow unraveling of something far bigger than tourism? And if this video opened your eyes, hit like, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the issues shaping our world. Because understanding this crisis isn't just about where people travel, it's about where America stands.